Hey friends, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. It's time to read about some more seriously deranged individuals, so let's begin. I painted my pool green after my neighbor complained about my green pool. One of my neighbors complained about our green pool. It had been neglected for the winter and was looking a bit gross. I was actually in the middle of getting the chemicals sorted when an officer from the council turned up to do an inspection. I showed her all the chemicals and she was satisfied that I was getting it sorted. A week later and she's back. Neighbors have complained again. It turned out the fiberglass in the pool was badly damaged and we've decided to rip it out and start again. Neighbor does not like the concrete pool. Council officer mentioned that the neighbor kept going on about how at least the concrete look was better than green. They apparently went on at length about how much they hated looking at a green pool. Green is my favorite color. The tradies doing our work also heard the neighbors complaining about our green pool. They showed me a color chart that lists emerald green as an available color. They'll give me a discount on that color if I want it. I've always wanted a green pool. We're going to start painting next week. Update. This is what it currently looks like. In the first image, you can see some original fiberglass which ended up fading to a kind of pale yellowish blue. The green in the middle is the sludge that was left at the bottom after we emptied it. It was gross and smelly. The second image shows the pool after it's been ground back and the top tiles removed. It's ready to be sealed next week. The sealant has to cure for 7 days, then we can paint, so I'll be back to update in a couple of weeks. Update. So the pool is still not done. We have finally finished sealing it after lots of problems with the weather. Here's how it looks at the moment. It has to cure now for 7 days, then we can add the paint, as long as it doesn't get over 30 degrees Celsius. It's going to be tight to get it finished before the really hot weather starts. I have spoken to the neighbor a few times. They've made several more complaints to the council about us because of the noise and rubbish associated with the renovations. The council have told them that if they make another vexatious complaint, they will take action against them. I have also spoken to the neighbor about a tree on the fence line that is pushing against the fence, causing it to become a bit unstable. It's apparently our fault that they're not paying to have the tree removed or to fix the fence. I asked them why it was our fault when the tree is clearly on their side of the fence, but they just ranted about the noise of the concrete grinder and stomped away. The next day, they had trimmed all our trees that overhang the fence and had thrown the branches into our yard, and into the pool. Sigh. I am biding my time. My council friends said that they bear the responsibility, obviously, and that when we get the council out to inspect the newly renovated pool, they'll make a big song and dance about the fence, send them a fine, and a repair it or else order. So still nothing too exciting, but I will update once the green paint starts going on. Update. So our pool is nearly finished. Here are the pictures showing the progress. Today the neighbors realized that the pool was going to stay green. I saw them looking over the fence and they did not look happy. They told us green pools are against the law. When I asked them to show me what law, they backtracked. They are going to report us to the council again for painting our pool green. It's an awful color and we should be ashamed of ourselves. I've made their lives miserable since they moved in and it's our fault they've had to complain so much. They said they would fix the pool themselves. I showed them one of the new security cameras at that point. They were going to send some friends around to talk to us. I reported it to the police, who said they'd go around and have a chat to them, and also spoke to a lawyer who confirmed that A, there is no law against a green pool, and B, he would send a cease and desist letter for us if he could come and swim in the green pool. It should be noted that both the police officer and the lawyer are friends and relatives of the tradies who have worked so hard to get this done. Being nice to people pays off. I spent the afternoon trimming trees and dropping the branches back over their side of the fence. Small petty things are satisfying, but so are big expensive ones. Honestly, the level of pettiness here for such an insignificant issue is what makes this so amusing. The neighbors just had to kick up a fuss about a small puddle of algae in someone else's pool, because they don't like having to see it when they look into someone else's yard. Well, if you're going to report me over this because you hate the color green so much, then I'll just make the entire pool green. And legally on top of that. If you're going to be unreasonably petty, then expect an unreasonably petty response. HOA turned off my pool fob because my disability is distracting, and more. Okay, so when we moved into our condo, our homeowners association was actually pretty good. But ever since one crazy old bat got on the board, everything has gone downhill. It all started at the end of last summer. I'm disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and fibromyalgia, and I use a cane to walk. As part of my physical therapy, I use the pool to do hydrotherapy routines. No one I had met minded this, as I only took up a corner of the pool. But after being witnessed doing water therapy by this old bat, everything changed. She got the nastiest look on her face and informed me that I was taking up too much space in the pool and was distracting and detracting from others' enjoyment. It's a huge pool and I'm not a big person. Anyway, winter came and I thought that was the end of it, but I tried to go down to the pool a few weeks ago at the beginning of our vacation. My husband and I are teachers. Our pool fob had been turned off, and we called the HOA and they sent us a BS form letter about us violating pool rules, which we never have. The letter mentions I was playing loud music, but I never play music at all at the pool. My guess is that my phone ringer was loud one day and they latched onto that. I don't know, it's complete BS, obviously. It's absolutely ridiculous that I now have to pay for a Y membership to do therapy, when the pool is literally behind our condo, all because one old hag hates disabled people. I called an old friend of mine today from undergrad and we had a good chat. She's a civil rights lawyer. She normally deals exclusively with immigrant discrimination and whatnot, but she agreed to draft a letter, and said she'd give me a hand finding a full-time lawyer if the letter doesn't go anywhere. She does fully expect the letter and threat to get my pool fob back, and I'm tending towards agreeing with her. In hilariously frustrating news, I saw the old bat out today, and she left her dog poop on the ground, right by the picnic area. Clearly cares about the bylaws. Update. My husband and I have brand new pool fobs courtesy of the HOA, along with the letter of apology. Basically, please don't sue us over and over again. We immediately went and checked if they work, and they do. So my friend's threatening letter worked. I won't post the letter due to a lot of identifying info, but suffice to say, it was sufficient for now. She always was terrifying when she needed to be. I've also heard whisperings from the neighborhood gossip that this gave some serious impetus to the other board members to try to get rid of her. Apparently, she's been making their lives miserable too. Here's hoping she's not on the board for long after this. Even so, our goal of moving by next year has strengthened, even if she does get her full comeuppance. I don't want to find out if she's vengeful, especially if she doesn't get kicked off the board. Update. We thought we had a happy ending here when we got the pool fobs back, but we were unfortunately wrong. The woman who was causing us issues not only stayed on the HOA, she is now the head of the HOA. The thing that stands out most is that they towed our car without warning. We had gone to get the new tags and they were one day late in the mail. So think the tags expiring on June 30th, and midnight ticks over to July 1st. So instead of warning us in writing, which the HOA contract requires them to do, they towed our car without warning and did not leave a notice. So we wake up a few months ago and one of our cars is just plain missing. We call the cops, we call insurance, and I call my parents absolutely bawling because I have no idea what to do. The cop they sent in saw the security cameras and he had us call the HOA to get footage to see who stole it. Oh, the head of the HOA said with way too much glee in her voice. We towed it last night, the tags were expired. She was literally waiting till midnight for our tags to expire so she could send in the tow truck. But she shot herself in the foot because the HOA contract also requires 5-day written notice before a tow. So thankfully, since she shot herself in the foot on that, she had to pay for our car to come out of impound. The tags literally came in the mail that day, so we had our shield back on our car. Things that were in the car that would have been stolen if we couldn't get our car back include my husband's work computer, important student documents for the children I teach, and my handicap placard. That was just one thing. And technically, since it's in the contract that a car with expired tags can be towed, we were told we couldn't do anything legally. Especially since she showed good faith by paying for our car to be taken out of impound. They also tried to do the same thing to our friend's car in the literally just 3-hour span she was visiting me. Her tags were legit very expired. But thankfully we got home and were able to tell the tow guys that the contract doesn't cover her since she doesn't live here and they let her take her car home easy. Other things that have been attempted, none have succeeded because we now know our contract and copy all our paperwork. Trying to fine us for feeding an outdoor cat, we didn't do it and the security cameras proved it. At the meeting, the HOA head implied we were suspicious because we got so many packages. My husband collects records and buys and sells guitar parts. tried to fine us for littering because I dumped some melted ice in my parking spot on a 95-degree day. During the winter, they tried to say we never signed to get our chimney cleaned and would be charged for it, but thankfully I copied the form where we officially declined and they backed down. She lets her dog crap in our yard specifically. She always cleans it up, but it's annoying as hell. Angrily brought a stray black cat to the door, claiming it was our cat terrorizing the neighborhood, and was very surprised to be greeted at the door by our actual black cat, who meowed at her until she awkwardly went away. Let our neighbor fly the Confederate flag, but told me my practice acceptance and make noise not war bumper stickers were sowing discontent in the neighborhood. She always leaves the pool whenever I show up, which hey, fine by me. Was convinced for the first few months we moved in that my white American husband doesn't speak English because he's olive-skinned with black hair, despite the fact that she actually spoke to him multiple times, asked him where he was born once, and seemed very put out when he said Florida. All this despite our neighbor, legit leaving empty Fireball bottles and dozens of spent cigarettes on their side of the porch. Yeah, she never gets warnings or fines at all, but we do. That brings us to this. We're selling. We were going to sell anyway at this point in our lives, because we have genuinely grown out of this house, and the issues with it being old are getting too much for us to handle. It needs some love from someone who actually knows how to fix stuff. Plus, it's two-story, which is causing increasingly bad issues with my joints. So soon we will be gone. I'm so excited. Quick update. She's no longer HOA president because she tried to steal my handicap placard right out of my car. My husband and I were carrying in groceries and she reached into the car and took my placard off the rear view. She called me a fraud and said if I could carry light grocery bags 20 feet from car to house, then I wasn't disabled enough to need it. I finally snapped and just straight up called the cops on her. She mouthed off to the cops and had to spend the night in jail. So since she is now a criminal and an embarrassment, they threw her off the board. I am so excited. Our HOA still won't be great, but she's gone. Alright, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit that like button. And also make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more Reddit stories like these. So take care, friends. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.